Yo, peace that doesn't depend on circumstance. Okay, that's what we are talking about today. Peace that doesn't depend on circumstance. All right. So this is the topic. I'll break it down. Okay, that's what I come here to do. All right. So I'll break it down, make it simple with examples, with everything, so that at the end of the day, you can understand what it means to have a peaceful lifestyle. Okay, peaceful lifestyle. This bold light analysis. I'm Redeemer. You can also call me Mawenyega. All right. So with that being mentioned, let me just dive deep into what we are about to discuss today. All right. So peace that doesn't depend on the circumstance. Okay, that means this kind of peace doesn't depend on you having money. It can come from the money, but regardless whether the money is there, it doesn't depend on you having a comfortable situation before, or it doesn't depend on the people around or something. All right, this peace, when you become aware of what I'm about to tell you, the peace becomes constant regardless of the external, you know, things around. And let's take notes. After mentioning these points, and you also think about it very well, you will understand why this is a solid information. All right. So I'll mention 5 points. Okay, that's 5 points. And after that, to be clear enough. Right. So let me just go straight to it. So the first one we have to talk about is know the source of true peace. You have to know the source. All right. Everything, everything that you want, there's a source that brings it. You have to know that one first. If it's trouble, you have to know the source and cut the source off. Okay. And if it's something good like what I'm talking about, then you have to know the source also and let it flow. And let the source be connected to us so that what we want can flow. Like right now, we are looking for peace. All right. So the source of peace that I've researched and found out can only be God. All right. The source of peace, as I mentioned, that it's not found in money or any perfect situation or something. Okay, it's not about what is around, what is going on, or the situation or something. Right? It's about God. It comes from God. All right. So how do we get these things? How do we get the peace from God and all those things? And as I've been mentioning here, this is about Christ. All right, and that's the way. All right. So how to know it? Not just saying it and all those things. So spend daily time in prayers. Okay, so you have to be praying. You see, one thing about prayer, I'll be talking about it later and I'll go deeper. All right, there's something about prayer that's very special. All right, spend daily time in prayers, reflection or meditation. All right, reflection or meditation. And these things, and people mention it and we define it in another way that you don't even know where they pick those definitions from, but meanwhile they are even self-explanatory. Right, so you spend daily time prayer and then in prayer and then we read scriptures also, meaningful texts. All right, even the Bible mentions that focus on anything that is firm, that is excellent. Those are the things you should focus on. So it's not that if you're not reading the Bible, you're not reading any book, any good book. There are lots of good books around. The only thing is that it should be firm. All right, it should be meaningful text. It should have solid backings. All right, and we are aware there are some other write-ups, some other texts that are not that meaningful. When you go and follow them, you are going to put yourself into trouble. All right, so you should know the text should be backed by strong, understanding. All right, right. The second thing we will approach is shift your focus from control to trust. All right, it's not everything we can control. Right, it's not everything we can control. So for you to get this kind of peace that doesn't depend on circumstance, because it's not every situation that you can control. It's not every money that you can control, right? Those kind of things, you see, most people get those kind of into disaster, into all kind of unfavorable situations just because they were trying to control something that wasn't supposed to be controlled as at that time. All right. So I think we should shift our focus on try to control everything. Focus on what we can control. There are some things that we can control. We are aware of it. We know ourselves. And the other thing that we can control, you leave it to God. All right. You leave it. That's why I said there's something special about prayer. Right. And at this point, I think it will be fair for me to mention it that the uncontrollable one, the one that you think, yeah, problem, but you can't control it. You see, something like something that has been worrying, maybe a disease, some kind of sickness, or some kind of situation around. You can't control it. You know it, right? Those are the things that you have to pray about. Like, just pray and then leave it. So as soon as you've prayed, okay, because the Bible says it is what He has said, it is what God has said, our mouth say. All right, that is what He's going to do for us. So you see, that's why we see some people say negative things, and it happens because you are not aware. You might think you are frustrated, you are tired, so you are just saying, ah, what's all this? I don't, like, you see, you just say something jokingly, all right, just something, and then it keeps happening to them. Bad things keeps happening. So you should just be, focus on the things you can control. And anxiety comes from it. Anxiety comes from trying to control what you cannot control. Like, we are telling you not to control it, and you're trying to control it. Anxiety will come. Anxiety, you become afraid that a thing might happen. Meanwhile, if you have let it and prayed over it, it should have been, settled. Meanwhile, it will look as if it's not settled. Wait, remember one thing. You see, let us all get back to the scripture that talked about um, Lazarus. All right, he was mentioned not to die. He was mentioned that he will not. His situation wasn't going to lead to death. But guess what happened? He died. Right. So after death, the the master went there. Jesus went there and then rose him back again. So it's not as if sometimes when the thing is declared, or sometimes when you believe the thing and the opposite happens, maybe everything gets scattered or something. It's not as if mm, we are in a we are in a group of faith. Okay, we are believers. So some of the things, the reason why some people find it hard is sometimes the thing that you don't want, that you pray that it shouldn't happen, the thing will actually happen. All right. Sometimes that's how the prayers are answered. All right, because God has His way of doing things. All right. So when it happens, don't think that because of that, God is not real, or no. Because look at Lazarus' example right now. Jesus of all people said this thing. Somebody who has been waking people up, somebody who has been curing disease, said, You will not die. And then he died. So if you were to be close, or you were to be around, what would you have thought? That this one didn't work, I'm picky, son get ready. But guess what? The person woke up later because he has said it. Once he has said it, so if it isn't supposed to be like that, grandpa, it will become like that because his word is like it's creation. He created everything, my friend. So you understand something. So anxiety, it blocks a lot of things. You shouldn't try to control things that we can't control. All right. So I think the things that you can control, just if it's writing that you want to write, you write it them down, or you just ask yourself what next. That's what I usually do. What should I do next? Then I get what I can do. I do it. I do it. I do it. When I get tired, I just rest. Ask myself again, or you can jot them down and then be doing them. All right. And then guard your inner world. Guard your inner world. All right. Guard your inner world. You should guard yourself not to be not to be driven fast, like as in we call it mood swing or those things. All right. You get angry, the next minute you are comparing yourself. You get angry, the next minute you are comparing yourself to something else. The next minute you are you are scared. You see, you should gather inner world. Something just takes away energy. Instead of that, you should replace them with gratitude, you know, joy, and being grateful. Because sometimes when you feel you're lowest, when you feel that when you get at your lowest, as if nothing is working out. If you will switch that to just looking around, you realize that you have roof over your head, right? There's something small in you that you can get food. There are people around that you can talk to. Those things are things that you should rather focus on, rather than focusing on things that you know will break down your spirit, like comparing yourself and all those things. All right, comparing yourself. All right. I think I read this thing recently. Let me see. Let me see. I read something recently that was very powerful. Okay. Okay, let me just say that. Imagine a fish and a monkey. They are trying to judge both of them by a tree. They are all animals, so they are all animals, right? Okay, let me say they are even two eye apart. Okay, let's say monkey and a goat or something. Monkey and a goat, and you are trying to assess them all by making them, you know, climb a tree or something. Mm. Fine, monkey can be described as wiser or something like in terms of our this, but when it comes to goes to meanwhile, we might not see anything, but God doesn't just create anything, all right? So a powerful man that used to teach me said something. He said, even as humans, when we are preparing something, when we are preparing something to use, when we are preparing some object or something, or let's say food or something, just something simple. Instead of when you are supposed to put sugar, we don't put salt. When you are supposed to put sugar, you remember to put sugar, we don't put salt. So why do you think even us that we are humans, we can think and do things exactly like that, and you think God would make mistakes? Mm. So compare yourself. That's what you're actually saying, that why am I not like this? Why am I not like this? All right. I'm not saying I'm out. Sometimes it happens. I forget myself and I think that way. But when I remember these things, I just stop, because Charlie, you don't know what someone is. The person you are actually compare yourself to. You don't know what they are going through. If they tell you, my friend, maybe you run back. You are thinking of reverse and come back. If they tell you, all right. So yeah, that's what I'm actually trying to. So some of the ways are like not to compare yourself, and then not have negative thoughts. Mm? Because when you're doing that, external things will shake you, small thing, and then you start misbehaving. All right, so I think we should limit our time on social media. That's what I've got here. Replace negative thoughts with affirmation and truth. Even if the thing is not going on, I will just say them to something real, something cool. And then you move. You just relax and move. All right. Okay. Cultivate gratitude in the present. I think I've mentioned that, right? Yes, we should cultivate gratitude. That's the fourth point. Cultivate gratitude in the present moment. We should be gratitude. You should be grateful for the things around. No, the small things and the big ones as well. Right. In fact, once you have something doing that you know is going to fetch you some cash, you are done. You are okay. All right. And don't let other people come like judge your success. As in, don't let other people be the one to define that you are successful or you are not successful. No, when they say just if you have something better to tell them, like oh, I think that shouldn't be what you should. That shouldn't be your problem. It should be my own. If you can tell them, but if you can't and you think you don't want to have any, just leave them alone, because they have no right. They don't have any right. Okay, unless you are a kid and then your parents are around, and even them when you are of age, they don't have that authority to decide. All right, unless the person is your master. As for your master, that one is different, because he's the one. They are the one teaching you, right? But don't let anyone judge your success, because what is actually your success? Someone somewhere who maybe doesn't even know what they are talking about might think you've not done anything or something. All right. Because imagine that you were sleeping outside, you were having a lot of hard times, you didn't your balance was even below like the normal, and now you are getting something small, you are doing some other thing, and someone comes in and tell you that, Charlie, you know, you try crowd, you see, that person doesn't know what they are talking about. They have no idea. And if they were in your shoes, maybe they would have probably committed suicide or something. You see, so don't let people make you feel. See yourself, judge yourself. You now judge yourself. That's what should be. Do not let other people, because some people, maybe it's because of something great that God wants you to handle. That's why you are passing through those things. Those people, they might have it solved, and all the even the struggle they might think they are going through is something very small that they are. But you see, so you that you are having this tough, don't be thinking of something. Okay, I'm not saying you should be the one that's going through the most, but at the same time, just be grateful for whatever you have. All right. Okay. Practice peace. That's the fifth point. Practice peace at a daily habit. Sorry, practice peace as a daily habit. Okay, practice peace as a daily habit. Peace isn't a moment. Okay, peace isn't a moment. It's a muscle. Or it's a muscle. The more you train it in everyday life, the more it stays strong. Okay, the more he stays strong. So this thing written there is actually means that, you see, most people, even me myself included, you might think peace is just, controlling the moment, or just, controlling what you can control to just make things balance, you see. And it comes with a lot of things, not getting angry too quickly, overlooking offense, all those things. They all come together to build your peace. Okay. It is not as if just for the moment, but it's something that you continuously do. Well, it's a muscle. It's a muscle. When you think of this even in a raw state, it's a muscle, because instead of, reacting, instead of doing something, instead of overthinking, you just forget all those things. And that shift in forget in trying to leave those things and then focus on the ones you can control. It's kind of a work, all right? It's a level of work. So you have to have a kind of muscle, mental muscle, to be able to shift like that. Okay, for someone to do something to trigger you and then you just cool, it's a muscle. Okay, it needs strength to do that. You have to get some level of strength. All right. So with that being said, I think I've said enough on the peace. And the last thing I'll mention is that the peace we are talking about here, that peace can only be gotten from Jesus Christ, okay? Like it can only be gotten from trying your best to copy his ways. Because he's a God in human form, he's the overall God in human form, and he came. Alright, so trying to be like him. Some people might think Jesus was, kind of not no I don't know how I like not harsh or those things, but Jesus Christ was everything that human could be. He was everything that a reasonable human could be. Imagine he got angry, man, and he got you know he lashed those who were selling the church. He got angry and then actually acted. He fought. So you see, he was a human. He was like he could get angry and then fight also. So he was like us. And God, and those things weren't counted as sin or something, because he was doing it for the right cause. He he went to the church and took food from there unauthorized. He took food from the church and then ate. When he was asked, he gave a reply that showed that he wasn't guilty. So you see, he's not like as if he's holy, holy. I'm not saying he was holy, but the way he was holy was a real one, not the one we've been thinking, the wrong, like the fantasy kind of righteousness that we were thinking. He ate with unrighteous people. He mingled with them as if, you see. So I'll make another video on that. But for now, let's close this one. We are talking about peace. So know that this peace is actually something good for you. Think about it. Go back. Remember to like and subscribe so that you can get more of this. All right. So bye for now.